So in this video, we're going to go over the 5 stages of getting clients as a 3D artist. And the first important thing to go over before all that are the different parts of a 3D career. So there's 2 parts I've laid out here. One is working at a studio as an employee, and one is going freelance or running an online business, essentially. So there's pros and cons to both, and this is all personal and depending on the person. So let's say pros for working at a studio. Some are all you really need to know is the 3D skill set, and that's all you need to be good at. You gain a lot more 3D experience because essentially you'll be spending more time doing actual 3D projects. And essentially projects are given to you and handed to you, and a lot of the business side of how to get clients, communication with clients, all that stuff is kind of handled for you. The only downsides are, as with any job or employee kind of situation, you get a fixed salary. You have a cap on how much you can earn in your career, and essentially you work in a fixed schedule. But for many people, that's great. Not saying any of these things are right or wrong. It depends. It really depends on the person that you are and what you really enjoy doing and spending your time doing. So, like running the online business or doing freelancing, quote unquote. The pros are you get to decide your own pricing. You kind of work your own hours. You're not stuck to, let's say, a schedule. And your potential earnings is based on your ambition and work ethic, as opposed to being capped in like any kind of job. And you'll gain a lot more business experience. So again, if you're working in a studio, you'll more likely gain a lot more 3D experience, where doing freelance and online, you'll more likely gain more business experience. So depends on the person, which one they value more. Most 3D artists, I'm sure they'll value the 3D experience more, and they enjoy doing that more than the business side. And then the downsides of running an online business is obviously you need to learn a lot more than just the skill set. Like you need to know how to find clients, how to pick a niche, how to attract the clients, how to do the sales part, how to set up a business correctly, all sorts of different things that you need to learn that goes into the freelance side, which is why so many people struggle with it. But I really wanted to just outline the 2 different parts because not everyone may want to do freelance. Some people may just want to work in a studio, get a lot of cool different variety of projects, and that's all they focus on. Yes, they may get a fixed salary, they may work on a schedule, but some people love that. It's like security, it's stability. They do things and they work on things they actually enjoy, as opposed to kind of trying to figure out all this other stuff, like how to find clients and how to sell them, and like how to price projects and all this other stuff that's not to do with 3D. Again, it really depends on the type of person you are, depending on which one you want. So when it comes to finding clients, you kind of need to decide which path you want to go down. Do you want to find clients in the terms of you want to work in a studio and get paid by a studio and work for them? Or do you want to find clients in terms of running an online business? You just need to look at both and decide, weigh the pros and cons for you, and decide which one you're willing to go down and which one you're willing to deal with. So felt like that was important to just go through at the start. So now we've kind of outlined 2 different parts. I'm not saying that they're the only parts. These are just 2 ones that I was outlining in this video. Now we can go into the 5 stages of getting clients as a 3D artist. And this video is really important for most people because it's going to show why most people aren't getting clients and why most people are struggling with this issue. And I'm sure you'll see why as you go throughout the video. So there's essentially 5 stages that we've boiled it down to so far. As we're working with more and more people in our program on like not just improving their 3D skills and making sure that they're getting really high quality work and producing high quality stuff for their clients, but also where do they find clients? which niches do they go into, which industries do they go into, how to convert those clients from like cold into actual sales. Like, how do you start to actually get paid? And then how do you actually deliver the services once you've got the clients? Like, what's the process there? And these are all different things that we've been working on so far in our program. We've been heavily invested in the service quality section, which is, can you actually do the work? Is your 3D actually good? Like, you can't complain that you're not getting clients if your work isn't great. Like, if your work is bad, there's other issues that are going to affect how and what type of clients you're getting if your work isn't great. So like the first thing actually is like, which industry do you go in? Because if you pick electronics versus if you pick jewelry, those are two very different industries. Like, for example, if you're in the electronics industry, you're most likely not going to get hired by electronic companies if you're a freelancer, just because electronic companies, I have a feeling, would more likely and more trust hiring a studio versus let's say a jewelry company or a small business like a small jewelry business would be more open to hiring a single person or freelancer than an electronic company would. And you kind of need to weigh the different industries. Your niche is very important because it can decide how much your potential earnings would be, what type of projects you'll get, what type of clients you'll get, all sorts of things like that, what types of projects you'll be dealing with, obviously. And it's really important because, firstly, the reason why I would recommend picking a niche is because if you're a 3D generalist, you're just kind of hands for hire. You do everything, you work for everyone, and that's what you become. Like, people get you for projects, and whatever they feel like putting in the project, they'll make you do just because that's what you say you do. You say you're a 3D generalist, you do everything. Versus like if you do 3D renderers for jewelry companies, then they know, okay, strictly dual jewelry, and they know what to expect. But there's a lot that goes into all of these sections, and I can speak on for hours on all of these, and this is why I want to kind of go briefly over each area. One, to show you which areas you need to learn if you want to find clients. And it's also going to shock a lot of people and shine a light on why a lot of people aren't getting clients. So let's say you've picked your niche. Let's say you want to do jewelry projects. Again, if you're doing jewelry versus if you're working, let's say you're doing jewelry versus if you're doing, what's another example? Watches. The types of projects in terms of like the prices you're going to get, in terms of like the scale, are going to be very different. Like jewelry projects, I assume, obviously, unless you're doing watches for Rolex, you're probably going to get paid more versus working for watches, just because jewelries are on average, again, don't fucking quote me here, on average, jewelry projects, they're going to earn more of a profit than like a small watch business will. So generally, you'll probably get paid more. Again, depends on the companies you work for. You could work for a very small jewelry business versus like Rolex, and Rolex will pay a lot more. It's very different. But that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the industry that you pick and the niche that you pick is very important. I'm not really saying one is right or wrong because it depends on where you live, types of clients you get, the size of the business. Like there's all these other factors, and that's why I don't really want to go too deep in any of these things because it's a lot. But that's important. Then, now let's say you've picked a niche, right? You do jewelry commercials and images for jewelry companies. Now, is your service quality actually good? Like, is your 3D good enough? Like, do you provide photorealistic, high quality videos and images that clients want, that they want to advertise? Is that actually good? Because if you're struggling to get clients and your 3D renders don't look real, there's all sorts of like weird artifacts in them, it looks off, your animation's bad, like all these other factors in it, like you can't really expect to get high paying projects from that, especially with there not being that many jewelry companies and there's a lot of competition. Like it's going to be really hard to find high paying clients that way. And this is what our program focuses so much on, just because so many people need to get this part handled first. Like, are you actually a good 3D artist before you try and go get clients? Because Yeah, you could get clients not having the best 3D in the world, but it's going to be a lot harder to get clients if your 3D isn't good. So that's why our program is really focused on getting people like really high quality work, and then they'll make the whole client attraction process a lot easier because they've got something to back up what they're selling. You know, they've got a good service quality, the same as if our program was really bad and it never got any results, and so many people just went through it, we would just get a ton of refunds. People would speak so badly about our program, and no one would ever buy it again. And that's why it's important that your service quality and you're actually like the service you're providing is good. Like any company, the ultimate thing is like, are you serving your customers well? And are you providing them results? And essentially, that's what our clients really care about. So now that you've picked your niche, and you've got your good service quality, now it's the client attraction part. Now, the client attraction part, and this is why it's so important to pick your niche, because if you're trying to find clients and you don't even know which clients you're trying to find, it's going to be hard to find them. This is why it's important to pick a niche. So let's say you've got a niche and you're working for jewelry companies, you at least know to look for jewelry companies, not I work for everyone. Now, again, this is why I outlined the studio versus online business. So if you're working for a studio, it's fine to be a generalist. It's probably actually better to be a generalist than a specialist, just because in studios, they'll get a variety of different clients and a variety of different projects, and then it's 100% fine. Here, I'm focusing more on the online business section. If you're trying to work at a studio, it's fine being a generalist. All you need to worry about is just being really good at 3D. And attracting a lot of studios, and then you'll get a new studio and you'll work in a studio. Doing the online business is what I'm more focused on in this video. This is why kind of going down all these different paths. So let's say we're doing the online business model. Now you've got a niche, you've got your service quality down. Now it's the actual finding clients, like client attraction side. Like it's like, where do you find your clients? Once you've found the clients, like how do you actually sell them? You know, how do you get them to pay you? Once they paid you, like how do you actually deliver the services? Like these are all really important stuff. And these are like the big 5 stages. So we're going to go into them individually, a little bit in depth. Not too in depth because this is going to be a 5-hour video if I do that. I'm really going to kind of shine the light on like why this stuff is so important and why most people aren't really getting clients. And this is like a big thing that we've been focusing on working on in our program. Again, we've been really focused on the service quality part for the most part, but now we've been really doing some studying and branching out into these other areas and finding all these like super important things when it comes to finding clients and cracking that code. So once you've when it comes to the niche industry, like when it comes to picking a niche, like it's important to pick a good industry. Like, are you going to do jewelry, architecture, beverages, watches? It's hard for me to say which one is the best, just because, and these aren't all the industries. These are just examples. It depends on where you live, the market you're in. Depends on the world situation. One year, jewelry might be doing well. The next year, watches might be doing well. All these things change. But it is kind of important which industry you work in, and this kind of, you need to do research, you need to ask people, find people that are doing 3D in, let's say, different industries, and ask them like what their project sizes are, what their projects are like, how much they get paid. All this stuff is really important because if you're doing, let's say, art for Instagram, which is a lot of people on Instagram, they're doing like 3D art, you're going to get paid very differently versus if you're working for an electronics company that's got thousands of products they need to ship out and they need a lot of videos made for their work, you know. Same as automotive. Or architecture or jewelry, different types of projects, different scales, different prices, different project sizes, timelines, all that stuff. So this is important to kind of niche down versus if you're a generalist where you kind of do everything and then clients don't even really know what you do specifically. Again, if you're trying to work in a studio, it's a different scenario. But generally, if you're running any online business, it's good to pick a niche. So that you're not just hands for hire. So yeah, in a sense, if you're thinking about like how do I do freelancing as 3D, essentially what you're asking is how do I run an online business? And these are all the principles that goes into it, no matter which kind of service you're delivering. So that's kind of the picking the niche. Then when it comes to the actual service quality, can you actually deliver the services? Like, of these 8 pillars, how much of them do you have handled? Are you good at planning your projects? Are you good at doing the modeling, the lighting, the texturing, materials, animation, rendering, producing your commercial, or just delivering the service, like the images, whatever it is? Like, do you have all these areas handled? And this is like a big thing. This is what our program is focused on, just because so many people don't even have this stuff handled. Like, can you actually do that? Like, you need to be really obsessed with this is if you want to be successful at anything, but like, you need to be obsessed with like being the best and like having such a high quality of work, so that the other sides and the other parts of getting clients and stuff becomes easier. It's a lot harder to sell someone when you're really bad at 3D versus if you're like one of the best that they've seen. It's a very different playing field, and it's a lot easier to sell a client when they know you as like one of the best in your industry. And this is really important, that you can actually deliver a good service, because then they'll refer you to other people, and also delivering the services that they need. This is why it's important to understand like your niche, what kind of services do they need, what do they want in their projects, all that stuff, and also delivering high quality, delivering it fast, knowing that industry really well, all sorts of, that's like all important, that goes into picking your niche and also delivering a good service. So it's important that you know all these 8 pillars. If one of these are lacking, that's the first problem you need to fix, and you need to fix it really fast if you actually want to get clients, so they can actually focus on other things besides the 3D and actually how to get clients. So that's the biggest thing to fix. Then there's the actual client attraction, or how to get recognized by clients. So there's here are 2 options. There's the content production method and the direct outreach. I did the content production not necessarily by choice, but the only one that I knew at the time. This is the slower and longer method, where you essentially produce content. And this is a method that most people are doing now, where you just produce content online. Hopefully clients, you attract clients, they contact you, they email you, they direct message you, or you schedule a call with them. And it's the much slower method, and it's a method that most people are doing. The method that I did, I was just lucky in the sense that I had a very strong work ethic. I work really hard, and I did it for a long time. And I mostly did it just on YouTube and focused on that. And that way, clients started to attract me. I started to attract clients, and they started to contact me, and I got client recognition that way. Again, there's a lot of downsides to this method. You need to work really hard, and you need to do it for a long time. Most people struggle to do that, always posting on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and stuff like that, and then getting clients there. You also need to have a really high quality of work in order to actually attract the clients. Like, if I was really, really bad at what I did and I just kept on posting, a lot of people would kind of just ignore me. Like, I'll be pushed to the side. I wouldn't get recognized by clients. And that's why it's so important to make sure that your 3D is actually good in the first place. And this is the most common method that everyone uses, and it's also the hardest and takes the longest, and that's why most people aren't really getting clients. The other method is the direct outreach, where you either go on Facebook or LinkedIn. Because you know your niche, you know who to search for, and because your service quality is good, it's easy to to add companies and clients, to contact them and to schedule a call, because you know who you're looking for, you know how to message them. So these are all different factors that goes into running an online business. Like, you need to know which platform to go on, like where do your clients hang out, once you actually know which niche you're looking for and which companies you're looking for. How do you search for them? Which people in the company do you add? How do you message them so that they actually get on a call with you? And then when you're on a call, how do you actually convert your prospect to a client? Like the sales part, like, here, like, you'll see different things like making sure that your packaging, like, do you have packages for your services? Like, do you have different tiers that, or different options that clients can pick from, so that they know what's included, they know what's going to be delivered, like all the deliverables in there. They know what they're paying for. They like, do you know your timeline? Like, can you discuss like how long the project's going to take, the different stages of it? Do you know how to close clients once you're on the calls with them? Do you know how to price it? Do you know how to communicate with the clients once you've started the project? Do you know what their objectives are and making sure that you're meeting those? Like, there's all these different things. Like, these are just a few points that you need to make sure that you know and can go over when you're actually on a call with a client and discussing a possible project. And you also, like, there's so much stuff you need to know so that they pick you versus overpicking someone else, you know? And like, if you don't know these things, like, how do you expect to get clients? You're kind of just shooting in the air. And like, this is just the sales part. Like, do you know how to attract clients? Do you know, like, your 3D? Do you know which niche you're in? Like, now a lot of people will start to see, like, why they're maybe not getting clients, just because there's so much that goes into this when it comes to getting clients, you know? And this is mostly why we've just focused on the 3D part. Just because there's so much that goes into it, and most people haven't even got the section handled. So once you've actually sold them, then there's actually delivering the service to the client. So, like, do you know how to organize your files correctly so that you can also share with them in the future if they might need it, or just have it accessible to other people and teams so they can look through it? Do you know how to communicate with your clients effectively so that you make sure that, like, everything is getting controlled, and make sure that nothing is really going wrong? Do you know how to quality control your projects so that you're making sure it's always up to quality? Do you have a process or workflow for your projects? Like, you don't want the worst thing is getting into a project and you're just kind of fumbling around and just hacking your way through it. Like, you want to have a process and a workflow, whether that's doing commercials, whether that's doing images, so that you know all the steps and stages that goes into it. Like, making sure that you're staying on a timeline, making sure the objectives are met, making sure that you're planning your projects correctly. If you don't know how to plan your projects, don't be surprised when they go wrong. Don't be surprised when there's always issues. Because you need to know what you're actually making before you make it. You need to know how to plan it, and then going above and beyond for the client, so that they impress you so much. That you impress them so much that they'll want to hire you again. They'll recommend you to other people. And as you can see, there's just so many things that goes into getting clients, which is not even 3D related. And this is the part that so many people I see haven't even gotten through. Like, the 3D part is just the service delivery part. Doesn't matter what kind of online business you're in. If you're doing coaching, 3D, animation, whatever kind of service it might be, chopping wood, whatever kind of online business you're in. I don't know if that's an online business. You need to make sure that your actual service is good. And like, that's really important. So that's kind of like a look at, like, the 5 stages of getting clients. Which areas, like, are you lacking in? Which areas do you need to go through and learn? Make sure that, like, you've got your service quality down at least, so that you're in the best position to attract clients, sell them, deliver the services, and get referred and recommended to other clients. And that's just a very brief overview into this. In other videos, we'll start to go more in depth in each area so that you get the tactics and the tools for you to go out there, start getting clients, start getting paid, and become a thriving 3D artist. By the way, if you enjoyed this video from our program, click the link in the description. It's a free video on how to master your 3D skill set in 2021. So that you can be in the best position for monetization. Check that video out, schedule a call with us, and you'll get a free strategy session with me personally, and we'll look at you, where you're currently at, where you're trying to get to, and run you through the processes to reaching your goals. Hope you enjoy, and I'll see you on the other side.